Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. We're going to try this a second time. Some of you may notice tried to do this last night. There were some technical difficulties. We're going to try it again. This is something a little different today. It's a question and answer. A couple days ago, y'all may have seen in some of the videos or on Twitter, I was asking for just questions, and I got a lot of good ones. Got from Twitter and from YouTube. When I did this yesterday, it took me 52 minutes, so we're going to try to get through it a little quicker. I don't know. We'll see. So from Twitter, John Yanis, what is your process of deck building? Well, more times than not, what happens is I will get the commander and try to build around that commander whenever possible. That's kind of what makes the format unique. Every red deck's not the same. Every Celestia deck's not the same. It can be built that way, don't get me wrong, but that's kind of not why I enjoy it. The personal flavor of the commander, and that helps me find like really unique cards and really corner case stuff that just doesn't normally pop out. Ooh, favorite commander. He says, what is your favorite commander? I've dodged this question for years now. Shoot. I always said, it's like asking me to pick my favorite kid or whatever, but the new one is my favorite one. And yes, it changes. It just depends on the day. I get real excited when I finish a deck, and most of the time there are some. I don't care if I ever play another Sliver deck again because I just don't enjoy that. That's not for me. But, got to do it. How do you pick which commander to build? Whatever commanders they print, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. As far as the order of it, I don't. Now, keep in mind, I've been doing this, 3 years? And Magic has been around 26. So they were printing cards for 23 years, printing Legends for, 21 years before I ever started. So there's a lot of ground I have to go back and make up. All of these are not in order. They are in order of the number that I did them. They're in numerical order, but beyond that, it's not. There are times when, like right now, I'm in the middle of Core 20, M20. And the only one I have left to build is Kaalia. And all 10 of those will be together in like the 440s. So there are times when that happens. But I'm pretty fortunate I'm going to get M20 done before Commander comes out, which is kind of rare because Core 20 had 12 Legends in it, and I started early, started pre-building as much as I could before the decks or before the sets come out. So I started doing that, about a year ago, and I really like it. I get the deck box, put the sleeves in, and try to figure out what the mana base is going to be, or what I know I'm going to put in it. But now I'll have a chance to go back and make up some ground. Once I get M20 done, technically I am caught up at the current moment, and I can work backwards and start picking up the ones I have missed before the next batch of Commander 19 come out. Taking off my watch, this thing's hot. Lab Rat Trash. How redundant has deck building come for you? Do you have a huge stockpile of staples, or are you always trying to corner shoot to avoid homogeny? Well, I joke about all I do is put cards in sleeves, but I guess that's an oversimplification. But as far as redundant deck building, it is not really. There are some things that are the same. Like Kaalia here, I showed you the new Kaalia. What I try to do is I try to do something different, something I haven't done before, which Kaalia is going to be deck number 452, I think. So it's getting increasingly harder. So, but like with Kalia, there are no angels, no demons, and no dragons in the deck. Yeah, sounds weird, huh? But that was kind of as I build the deck, I'll set certain rules. Like Barktooth Warbeard, I said, everything's going to have a beard, or random, left-hand dominant. Everything's going to have whatever, but it causes me to use other cards and to, because I don't have a stockpile of staples. I kind of dislike that word because I think every deck wants something different. I have a lot of these decks that don't have Soul Rings. I have decks that don't want Soul Ring. And Kytheon is all 1-drops. The entire deck is 1-drops. There's no Soul Ring in there. But it's... Well, I guess I do have a stockpile of one card. I bought 500 Rogue's Passage because they were just crazy cheap, and I got free shipping, and I don't even think I spent $5. But anyway. Yeah, that's a thing. Dolfo, what motivates you to keep building for every legendary? It's just one of those things that you get that feel when you read the card and it excites you. And yeah, not every card excites me, but let's face it, I'm a commander player. Most legendary creatures excite me. Does knowing it will never end seem daunting? It'll end. If only for a brief moment, because there will be a time when I get caught up and there will be no immediate set that comes out. Now, granted, it might only be a couple of weeks, but then before the new stuff comes out, but then when I get those, I'll be able to keep up at that point. I won't be relegated to just, well, no, I'll still be constantly building decks, but do your decks get enough love? We just had a kid and games have been cut by over half. I feel you. I don't know that it's possible that any deck gets enough love, even if you've got 1 or 3 or 10. Do we play as much as we want? None of us do. I mean, we love this game, but life happens. Kids and karate classes and work. Work occupies, a good chunk of our time. But this is pretty much something that we do to have our hobby. And, some people play golf, some people hunt, some people watch football, and all that stuff's cool, don't get me wrong. It's just not for me. We're Magic players, and it's one of those things that a lot of people don't understand, but hey, it's who we are. What is your preferred sleeve? Ultra Pro. Y'all know I love Ultra Pro products. They have but as far as specifically from Ultra Pro, their Eclipse sleeve is outstanding. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. It's got to be made of like adamantium or something. Yeah, it's really good. Really good. Let's see. Ryan Saletta, what is your favorite vanilla commander? I think I already mentioned him. Barktooth Warbeard, because just the flavor of the card in the deck without actually having any abilities, It's I do have a what I call Nilla Wafers, a deck that has all vanilla creatures. I think it's Jasmine Boreal. All vanilla creatures and Miranda Petroglyphs. I mean, everything's so watered down that I only use basics in the deck. I think they're white bordered. Rod Hunt, if you could implement any new rules or variations to the Commander game, what would they be? I think the format's in an excellent place right now. Well, you know what? I guess I've thought that the entirety of it. Yeah, there are problems, but meh. The one thing, I guess, gun to the head, have to add or change something. Let's talk about poison, but my problem's not with poison. I actually like poison. You lose the game at 10 poison counters, and it doesn't matter where you get those poison counters from. If you took a hit from a Skittles and got 4, or a 4th edition, little Cobra that gave you one because you didn't spend the mana, whatever. It doesn't matter what sources that the poison came from. It just matters that, hey, there's 10 of them. Game rule states you lose. Why is that not the same for commander damage? Now, I get it. It would make games crazy quick. Well, maybe not crazy quick, but a lot quicker than what they are. And I don't think that's bad. I'm in the camp of, hey, cool, let's shuffle up, play again. Play more games of Magic. But if somebody hits you with, I almost said, I don't know, but I don't guess that's happening now, is it? I think, what would you call it? Unified commander damage. Unified commander damage would be that way. If you take 21 points of commander damage from the total commanders, you lose. And that seems like a thing that, if I'm ever in your neck of the woods, can I get a game with you in your group? Absolutely. Well, I can't really speak for the group, but I'm always down looking for more games. Love to play. Zach Tarver, how do you organize your collection? I'm gonna lump all 4 of these in one. Do you separate cards not in decks, or how do you separate cards not in decks? And how do you know what you have outside of your decks, and what is your overall system? Okay, I guess we'll start with when a set comes out. Before a set comes out, we will take a look here at this M20 binder. Before a set comes out, I grab a binder, put pages in it, and I number each individual pocket, starting from 1 to whatever the ending card is, which sometimes can be confusing with all of the additional cards that are not in sets now. By the way, there are 64 cards in Core 20 that you can't get in boosters that are numbered part of the set. That's not part of the question. So, the set comes out, sort it out, open it up, sort it by color. I've done a couple videos with that, and I will put it into the binder. Really, honestly, that's the bulk of a set, is when you buy your box or 2 boxes, fat pack, whatever, on release. That's generally the most I've noticed. I know a lot of people that buy that case and they're done with the set. So after that, you're going to draft here and there, or you're going to pick up a pack or 2, prizes or whatnot. So you sort it out, put it into the binders, and put it on the shelf. Let's see if we can. That's the shelf. I've got a set per binder, and yeah, it does take some, because I've got just a cluster here. This is typically where I build at on this table, but I go to a lot of different shops. I pick up a lot of cards, and they're not always new, and they're, the wife got me that beautiful sorting tray that I use. Gosh, I use too much. Or not enough, depending on how you look at it. I guess I have unsorted cards, so I don't use it enough, right? But that's how I separate the cards not in decks, is in the set binders, because everything is, since Exodus, everything's numbered. It's alphanumeric, white, blue, in WUBERG order. And I've got the binders in order of set release. So, as far as expansions, Arabian Nights up front, and War is right now last. That'll get bumped for Eldraine here in 2 months, 3 months, whatever. I keep stacking them to the end. Eventually, that bookcase is going to have to get bigger. I had to build it because that's a whole lot of weight. Reinforce the floor up underneath it with concrete, and then had to build it. If you'll notice, those were 2. Anyway, What do you know you have outside of your decks? Man, you got me. The beautiful part is everything's in a binder. So when I am here at the table building a deck, I'm like, oh, okay, I need X card. Not the card X, but a specific card. So I'll go to Scryfall. I use Scryfall quite a bit. Actually, Gather pushed me to Scryfall because Wednesday's one of my days off, and like Wednesday is every Wednesday, Gather's down for updates. So I found Scryfall, and then lo and behold, I found out it's better. You can search for things that you can't search for on Gather. But anyway, I'll Scryfall the card. Hey, it was in these 5 sets. I go to those set binders. And, oh, I don't have this version. Oh, I don't. Well, I guess I'm out of that card. There are times that happens. And then that forces me to either A, procure the card, which I try not to do. I try to build with what I've got. Because even if I spend $5 to get, a card or two for a specific deck, and really, as a rule, that's cheap, a $5 card. But let's just take, if I've got to spend $5 on cards to finish a deck, that's 450 decks. That's next page, Meme Back Boy. How many Soul Rings do you own? I'm going to give you the worst answer possible. I don't know. But I will. Because when I first started doing this 3 years ago, I didn't do deck list at all. I was like, I ain't got time for that. And then I realized, you know what? It doesn't take that much time. So I started doing deck lists somewhere in, I'm going to guess, the 300s. Maybe. So, and I tried a bunch of different deck listing sites, and they all didn't have everything that I actually wanted. So I was like, and finally I Archidekt paired with EDHREC, and of course we all use EDHREC. I've listed some of my videos on there in the past. Those guys are awesome. Have a great podcast too. So they, and I was like, well, because I know their standard and their quality, so I was like, I'll try it. And Archidekt is the truth. So what I'm doing is I am listing everything on Archidekt. Everything new going forward is listed on Archidekt. And I started with deck number 1, and I'm working my way this way. I think right now I've got 100 and something decks listed on Archidekt, and eventually I'll have them all. Then I will know how many Soul Rings I have. Because I'd say over half of these don't have them. Baleful Strix, that's a good username. Favorite part of the deck building process? Oh, do you know, I know it's happened to you. We're all Magic players. It's happened to every one of us. That moment where you read the card and you instantly know what you're doing. And you more times than not, you think of the perfect card to go with it, and it just becomes a cascade, and you're like, so I've got to have this card, and then I've got those two, and you get it in the zone, and it just starts flowing, it starts happening. Doesn't happen all the time. I guess that's why it's special. But I know several times my wife will pop in the door, and she'll see me like that, and she goes like, whoa, you're in the zone, I'll come back. But feeling that rush, feeling that new deck inspirational rush, that's what gets me. That's my favorite part. Now we go to questions from YouTube. Ronald Savage, where do you get those perfect fit art sleeves? Okay. Ronald, I'm not exactly certain what you're talking about, so I'll try to cover it all. We're going to experiment here on a Zenic Poltergeist. You're all familiar with the perfect fit sleeve, or the pro fit sleeve, the inner sleeve, I guess is what we'll call it. You put it in upside down, and that way, when you put it in your actual normal deck protector sleeve, it creates a lock. Air, dust particles, things like more spilled soda is not getting in there. So that's But what I do for my commanders is I have an I call it overshield because I used to play way too much Halo. It's an outer sleeve. These are this brand here is called Character Guard. I think they come from overseas. I don't know if Ultra Pro makes any. I would love it if they did. But what it does is that scrolly art border. That's what I think you're talking about. And I have, weirdly enough, I've never found these at any local game store because it's such a niche product, and I get the fact that they've got to turn their inventory but I've had to order these online. I use it for my commander only because I want the commander to look special while it's down there. I want people to know that's his commander. And so, yeah, I had to take the Zenith Poltergeist out. He was feeling a little too special. But I love those, and yeah, triple sleeving is kind of an overkill, but I only triple sleeve the commander. Even from a protection standpoint, your commander's going to get physically handled more than any other card, probably. Taking it out of the box, putting it in, handling. But I like it, and it gives a nice pop. I didn't realize I pop corners, but when I play a card, I played for 15 years before I ever realized that. I'll play a card, pop it, and poke it, and apparently that means it's there. I don't know. Somebody else taught me that, or told me that. Do you have any merch? No, I do not. Is merch a thing? Is that something y'all care about? And if so, what would it be? What are there? T-shirts, stickers, playmats. I know sleeves are pretty darn expensive. I say that. I don't know. I've never priced anything like that. I don't know. I'm open to anything. I haven't done it because I didn't know that was a thing that people cared about. I guess I should probably continue to work on actually getting a logo. My son makes music on a little iPad program. He's working on me a theme, 5-second theme song. Anyway, currently no. Y'all let me know if you do and what you would like to see. Stickers, I don't know what value they have. I kind of like them. I've got a binder around here somewhere that's got like random stickers from other content creators on it. It's got like the CCO boys and the Magic Mics and Cardboard or whatever. But y'all let me know. Crawl Black Fox, how did you first find out about Magic? And the same for Commander. I found out about Magic. I was working in, a little town called Cape Girardeau, Missouri in 94. And a guy I worked with he had nerddom wasn't popular, okay? And he had found out that I had liked, Star Trek and fantasy and things like that. And he was like, he's like, there's this card game that we just found. It's pretty neat. And he taught me how to play. And I thought, it's all right. And, I bought my first card. I think my first pack was The Dark. And he taught me. He wanted to make sure to teach me the basic rules of the game before he introduced me to his play group, which I think that was kind of cool. And so his play group there was 4 or 5 guys, and so I pretty much learned how to play Magic in a multiplayer setting. And I remember going, one-on-one? Why would anybody play one-on-one Magic? It's much more fun with a group of people. What are you, just trying to kill each other as fast as you can? Well, we all, at some point in time, have got that tournament bug, and there are different seasons of Standard that was appealed to me, and I'll play through that season, and then, whatever. I've never really stopped playing. I've never sold all my stuff. I've sold bits and pieces, But how I found Commander was somewhere in the Time Spiral block. I read an article on the Mothership, the Wizards website, about this wacky format the judges were playing at Pro Tours, after the Pro Tour was over with, and they were all these weird restrictions and these giant decks. And so I built one. I took it up to my F&M. I don't know what I was thinking somebody else would have one. So the next week I built another one, and I took up two. And me and my buddy Derek played the first game here in town, and it drew a crowd. People stopped playing F&M to watch. Why is that card not in your deck? Why is it, why are the decks so big? And it was a blast. And that was the first actual Commander game played here in this area, maybe in the state. I don't know. I can't speak to that. And from there, it just grew, and I love it. James Brown, also cool username. I don't know. Maybe it's the James Brown. Maybe he's a hardcore Magic player and we don't know it. What would you say the hardest legend to build around is? Well, I put weird deck building restrictions on like every deck, Like in this one, I'm not going to have any of this, or I'm going to have all this. So with that, probably Edrix by Master of Trest. Because, I don't know, Axelrod Gunnarsson is proving difficult. Edric is blue-green, and the rule is all cards must have a ring on it. Either an ear ring, a nose ring, a mage ring, some kind of ring, soul ring. Axelrod Gunnarsson is the song lyric, because he looks like he's just strumming the air guitar. And so it's song titles, song lyrics, or musical, or, album names. Of course, Pyromania is in there. That was like the first card. But is there a legend you've wanted to build around but haven't? Yes. This past spring at the Grand Prix in Memphis, or Magic Fest Memphis, my wife got me a Angus McKenzie. And I've been looking forward to that forever because, he's the big one. And I got it, and I couldn't wait to get home, and I haven't. I think Angus is sitting over there in a box with 99 empty sleeves because I just fear that I won't do it justice. I want it to be awesome, but I also want it to be different. I don't want it to be fog.deck. But that's kind of what he does, so I don't know. I'll figure it out. Something will inspire me. If Wizards of the Coast keeps printing new sets with new legends into the future, is there a point you think you'd ever stop? I'll only stop when I am done. I know they're going to keep printing it because Gavin, we now have a position. I say we, like we own Wizards or something. But there's a position in Wizards that Gavin Verhey, if you'll notice, the past several sets, for about the past year now, have had a lot of Commander goodies in them. And that's because we have a Commander Architect. And that's Gavin Verhey. He is kind of got his fingers in all the pies, making sure that, because they know that Commander players are the backbone of their business. Because most of the time, we're not just Commander players. We play Modern. Oh, yeah, and I got a couple Commander decks. Or, I play Standard. Yeah, I've got my EDH deck on me. But Commander encompasses so many more players, so many more of what Wizards used to call the Invisibles that are untrackable. They don't have DCI numbers. They probably live in towns that don't have LGSs. They're buying their stuff at either online or at box stores or maybe they do have LGS and maybe just life circumstances keep them from getting up there. But we are a huge demographic for them, Commander players. So that's why we are going to keep getting. And, we say things like, well, it's Commander 2020 or it's Commander Horizons. Or it's, yeah. They try to put stuff in new products for everybody, which is smart business because it gets everybody to buy the product. Has there been any points which you've nearly stopped the mission to build every Commander? I started about 3 years ago. I think the channel I started in November of 16. There's a lot of us started around that time, I believe. But since then, no, I've never thought about stopping or, I just eye on the prize I'll stop when I'm done. Sleep when I'm done. Okay, TA White. How much do you pay per deck on average, and how much do you think all your decks cost in total? Pay? It's impossible to tell, because how much did you really pay for any specific card when you buy by the pack or box or draft or bundle or whatever? It's impossible to know how much you actually spend on. I guess if you start from the beginning and if you track exactly how many dollars you have ever spent on Magic product, you could divide by how many cards you've got, and then I guess then you could see exactly how much each card cost you. But that's not a thing that we do. I mean, let's face it. I have got, the collection has amassed over the past 26 years now. And so, no, I guess it is still 25. But I'm going to say 99.9% of these cards I already had. And it's just in set binders over there. And then, the legend will come out and I'll be like, well, this is great with random 18-year-old card. And there are times when I do have to, actually procure a card. And I'm always I kind of frequent about 4 LGSs in the area. And I'm always looking through common boxes and bulk rares and just to see, because I can't tell you the list of cards I need, but I know it when I see it. I'm like, oh yeah, and I'll pop it out. But yeah, no telling. And as far as up here, the total cost of this, I don't really have per se a budget per deck. I use the cards I have, and that is what. Yeah, I mean, I'm constantly getting the new stuff. Yeah, sure, but using the cards that I have is because we'll take Doubling Season. I own 2 Doubling Seasons. They're in decks. Atraxa owns one, and I think Janara owns the other. Yeah, that's how I view it. That commander now owns those 99 cards. So, yeah, there are probably 50, 60 decks on this wall that could really use a Doubling Season. But, for obvious reasons, I don't have 50 copies of the Doubling Season because that's a really crazy expensive card. And it forces me to actually use other cards. Yeah, there's no substitute for Doubling Season. Not really. There's a couple, but even they're expensive. So it forces me to find alternate ways to build the deck, which that's encouraging. Like Mark Rosewater says, restrictions build creativity. And my format is the cards I have format. Are there any commanders you're not looking forward to building around, and why? That's Wise Old Worm. That one I'm still going to say Angus McKenzie, because while I am looking forward to it, I'm scared I'm not going to do it justice. And when she handed that card to me, she said, do something cool with it. And I was like, oh. So whatever I do with Angus, it's got to be cool. William Lambert, how do you manage the financial side of your brewing? I think we just talked about that a little bit. And what do you consider a reasonable budget for a typical deck? I think I just answered that. As far as I mean, we all have our budget, if you will, for what we spend on Magic, whether it's quantified or not. And that's what we've got now. Granted, it helps that I have this pool of 25 years of cards, and that's typically, if I don't have a card, I'm like, oh, I may have this random $20 card, and I go over there to the binders and I don't have it, not buying it, because I can't spend $20, on every single deck. There again, we've already covered that one. Let's see, did I skip any? Here's the last one. Excuse me, I'm going to check the time real quick. We are at 34 minutes. Okay. I have one last question, which is a very, very long one. And so I don't know if I need to. Malden8 from YouTube said, "What are your thoughts regarding the Command Zone State of the Commander 2019 Summit?" Which, by the way, I feel you should be a part of. I don't know. As far as that, the Command Zone is just an awesome, awesome production. Josh and Jimmy are some of the, pinnacle content creators, and they do amazing work. And it's kind of something that they started doing, 3 years ago. They started not too long before I did. It's just, I don't have the skills that they have. As far as me being there, I don't know that I'm qualified. I think everybody they had are outstanding. Those are all wonderful content creators, wonderful luminaries, and the CAG members and the RC members. I don't know that I deserve to have a seat at that particular table, but if it happens, it happens. There again, is that something that y'all would like to see me pursue? Because I know I watched both parts of it, and Josh and Jimmy said, if you're interested in next year, send us a thing. Would y'all care? I mean, is that something that you would? Because I'm on a mission, and I'm building every deck, and that's the purpose of my channel, and that's what I do. And yeah, I shoot other videos like random openings and question and answers and, stuff about sleeves and whatnot, but really the purpose is the mission, the quest. If that's something that, I'll throw my hat in the ring if y'all think it's a good idea, whatnot, but they did cover basically 5 topics. And at the risk of going long here, I don't know, we're already at past 35 minutes, so I think I'll just cut it right there. If the 5 topics they covered were Planeswalkers as Commanders, Wishboards, Hybrid Mana Symbols, Bans and Unbans, and what would you change? If y'all care about that, I can do a separate video, because one of those I am extremely passionate about. I guess all of them I am, but that would lead into probably another 20 minutes. I've been known to ramble, just so you know. But I do appreciate y'all watching. I've kind of enjoyed this. If this is something that you want to make a regular thing, I don't know, once a year, once every 6 months. If there were questions I missed, I do apologize. Send them to me. We'll log them for the next time. I'll make a hashtag or something where I can pull it up. But anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching. Thank you so much. And if you like what you've seen, if you like random weird deck builds, I used to have a set schedule of every odd number day. I released a video every odd number day for like a year and a half, and nobody got the joke. I just can't even. Anyway, I appreciate y'all watching. If you like what you see, hit subscribe, push the bell to make sure that you get all the updates, but subscribe. Analytics tells us that like 52% of y'all are not subscribed, so punch the subscribe button. It matters even though it doesn't matter. I'll talk to you next time. I do appreciate you. Y'all have a good day.